This week's episode of the Infamous Podcast is brought to you by Comixology.com. Are you in desperate need of a superhero fix? We can help you out. Go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and you can get access to Comixology Unlimited free for 30 days. And you can get access to Batman and Wonder Woman and Black Widow and Spider-Man and all these great comic book movies that are supposed to be coming out that have been pushed back. So go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and start your free 30-day trial to Comixology Unlimited today. Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is episode 260, Black Nocturne. I'm Brian.
And I'm Daryl.
And, Daryl, stuff happened this week. And we're coming up on an election, and we're not going to talk about any of that. We're talking about nerd shit all night.
All right. I had to say that.
I know.
I told you,
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm reading when I talk about my Audible books, but I'm actually listening to Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights, which is one of my favorite listens. First of all, just the book itself and the subject matter,
Right.
But also his performance.
He reads it.
He's
oh,
an
cool.
actor.
Yeah, nice.
He reads it, and it's that makes it twice as good.
So I'm on to God Emperor of Dune, so book 4 of the audiobooks, because I mean it's easier for me to read or to listen just because I'm dyslexic, and I just get. I mean, I can read, and I read really fast, and I comprehend really well. But like at the same time, like I don't have time to just sit and read like a 1,000-page book or however long it is. So it's much easier to listen to a 16-hour audiobook and like listen to it in the car, listen to it at the gym, and it works. Like I listen to it on the one wheel. That's like my favorite thing to do is I'll listen to books on the one wheel, or I'll call you. But no, I pre-ordered Ready Player 2.
Oh, I forgot about that. When does that come out?
In November, I think. But then Rookie Move, Will Wheaton's doing the reading.
Will Wheaton?
Will Wheaton.
Oh, jeez.
So he's gonna just keep mispronouncing words and pissing me off the whole time.
I'll just buy that one on my Nook.
Yeah, your Nook.
That comes out, and then Rhythm of War, Brandon Sanderson's one of his book 4, and I'm speaking of a 1,000-page book. I am on page 700 of book 3 of this series. That the one I just mentioned, and it's 1,300 pages.
Nice. So you're about halfway there.
And the Audible book is not available in the library. So
bastards. So I don't know. I think it's funny that the first Dune book is 24 hours long. So, but yeah. Anyway, hey, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about this week. Okay, so this week on the show, just a quick rundown. We have news about Why the Last Man TV series on Hulu. Ted Lasso got another season pickup, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We got our first look at Red Hood from Titans, season 3, coming soon to HBO Max. And then we're going to dive deep into Amazon Prime is trying to emulate something that the music industry did really badly when digital music became a thing. And then we've got the other half of our Blumhouse, Welcome to Blumhouse mini reviews with Black Box and Nocturne.
Sounds good.
All right. So did you read Why the Last Man, the comic?
Yes. I kind of forgot about it in the sense when I was reading this article, and I was trying to figure out where I left off, and then I remembered because I didn't like the ending. I think we talked about that a while ago.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't a fan of how it ended.
I liked the ending. I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know, Why the Last Man is a comic series that was written by Brian K. Vaughan with art by, I can never say his name right, by a very talented artist. But anyway, I'm sorry, Pia Guerrera. So I think I pronounced that right. I don't know. But anyway, so it's a world where there is a virus that kills anyone with a Y chromosome. And there's one man, Yorick Brown, who survives. And then it's his trials of the series are to get to his girlfriend Beth, who he wants to get engaged to right before all this happens, who's in Australia. And his mom is a senator from Ohio, or House of Representative. She's a congresswoman from Ohio, and she's got like different plans, and his sister Hero is involved, and he runs into and he gets paired up with Agent 355, which I think they're making a movie called 355 about the Culper Ring. So the Culper Ring was George Washington's like secret police, like spy ring.
They are.
And so Agent 355 is the person who is charged with protecting York, really from himself because he's a moron. So I'm excited for this. So it's Diane Lane is going to play Congresswoman Brown, which I find very interesting. And hopefully she's not a monster like Martha Kent. But we're talking about this because it was supposed to go into production last March, or in March, this past March, but obviously the beer bug hit
like last March.
Yeah, right. 42,000 years ago in March 2020. But no, then the pandemic hit and everything shut down. So it's going into production later this year, or starting early next year. But they had some cast changes. So new to the project is Ashley Romans, who will play Agent 355, and Olivia Thirlby, who will play Hero Brown. And then they've also, so I guess in February, Ben Schweitzer was supposed to play York Brown, but he's been replaced by Barry Keoghan.
No, he's replacing.
Oh, damn. I thought Barry Keoghan looked more the part than Ben Schweitzer does, or Schertzner. Okay. And then Timothy Hutton has been kicked off of the show because of some sort of alleged sexual assault in March. And
which I never
even heard about that. And he was kicked off of the Leverage reboot.
Which, again, never even heard about.
Okay, so
I love the Leverage show.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and I liked what little bit I watched. So I have a little bit of concern here because so they're talking about this, and they're like, the story is set in a post-apocalyptic, and this is a quote from the article on Deadline. The story is set in the post-apocalyptic world in which a cataclysmic event decimates every mammal with a Y chromosome, but for one cisgender man and his pet monkey.
So you had the same reaction when you read that I did.
So like, why can't they just say one man and his pet monkey? Okay.
Yeah.
And it says the series follows the survivors in this new world as they struggle with their efforts to restore what was lost and an opportunity to build something together. Now, they made a huge point to say in this inaugural season, all episodes will be directed by women. All right. That's the least of it. And that doesn't matter, right? I'm sure they're all perfectly fine directors. I'm just, so this book is focused on York.
Right.
And I get the feeling York is going to be
a
background character, and it's going to be about 355 and Hero. And his sister Hero is like really bright. I believe she's a medical student, but she goes crazy and joins this Amazon group, and becomes pretty militant and everything. But I do have to say, like, looking at Ashley Romans as 355, she looks exactly like what Pia Guerrera drew for the character.
Yeah.
So,
yes, she does.
So I'm kind of excited. And then I was trying to remember where I saw her from. And she was in the Showtime series I'm Dying Up Here. I don't know if you ever watched that one.
No, I never
It was
watched
the
that.
70s, I think 70s, maybe early 80s show about stand-up comedy at the Comedy Store. I think it's kind of based off of Pauly Shore's mom a little bit. And Sebastian Stan is in the first episode, and he kills himself in the first episode because he's had the best night ever on Carson. And he just kind of goes out on a high note. And it's left with the rest of these comedians to deal with that. So I had remembered seeing her in that, which I liked. And then Olivia Thirlby, and I think I'm saying that right. Thralby. She was Anderson in Dread. She was Juno's buddy.
Who she is.
Yeah,
okay.
she was Juno's buddy in Juno. She's on the show Goliath. I don't know if you ever watched that one. She had a run on there. But yeah, so like I'm excited. Oh, and she was on Bored to Death. She had a run on Bored to Death, which is an HBO series that's really good. So I'm actually excited for the casting of these two, because I think they're both pretty good actresses. But at the same time, Y is one of my favorite comics. I know. Yeah. I got to it late. Like it's one of the like Brian K. Vaughan's that I just kind of didn't start reading until like a year or two after it had ended. And I remember because I got like the first 2 trades at Queen City Comics, right? And I finished them in a day, and I went back the next day and I bought the next 2 and I finished those. So I went back and bought like I think there's 12, so I bought the last 8 just in one. I'm like, just give me all of them. So, but I've since bought them all digitally as well. So, but yeah, so I mean, this is a great series, and I just hope that the production team sticks to like some semblance of the story and what it's about. There's a total women empowerment thing that is really cool in the book, and it's not like laid on so heavy that like they're walking around like, oh, you're a cisgender male. That's where kind of the issue, like, and I don't know if it's because of the Deadline reporters who did that or if that came from Hulu and FX. I don't know.
Yeah, it, like you said, you know, people get on a lot of times what, you know, we say is, you know, some of the geeks and stuff in the sense of how we get upset sometimes about things, and the automatic response is, well, it's just because you don't like women or this, that, or the other. No, it's because it's when you don't follow the source material. Now, you don't need to follow it line by line. That's not what we're saying. But staying true to the characters there. And when we were talking about this, it reminded me, and this is what I was hoping. This is what I hope with this series. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, but when they were filming The Witcher, some of the stuff that came out about that was like Geralt was going to be in not less of a main character and more of a kind of like an ensemble with him being a little bit more in the background, which was not the case. So I'm hoping that we're just, in this sense, kind of jumping the gun, because yes, this is about, like you said, Yorick's. This is his story. And what was his monkey's name?
Ampersand.
Okay. Ampersand. So don't lose that.
Yeah.
And again, I love what we've seen with the cast.
Mm-hmm.
I love the casting very much. So as long as they tell the story like it's supposed to be told, and yes, you can throw some of your new stuff in there, but you have just make sure you capture the essence and what it is, what Y's The Last Man is about.
Right.
That's all we ask.
Yeah. So
and
okay, so
wait, Diane Lane not to be a monster.
Yeah, not to be a monster. So okay, so Barry Keoghan is who's gonna play Yorick now, right?
So the article said Ben Schnetzer is replacing Barry Keoghan.
Okay, so Barry Keoghan was from Dunkirk, and I don't like he just doesn't look like the right character. But Ben Schnetzer, definitely has the look of like what Yorick kind of looks like, and he was in the Warcraft movie. I think that was like kind of the biggest thing he's done. He hasn't done a ton. I don't know. I didn't see the Warcraft movie.
I think I know who he is now. Yeah.
But
I think he was the like magician. Yes, I know who he is. Okay.
So, but he's got So I mean, he's been in some stuff, and you know, it's oh, he was in Snowden. That was the other thing that I remember that I actually knew him from. The JGL Snowden movie. But
okay.
So yeah, so we'll see. It's one of those things where I think this can be great, and I think FX/Hulu is the right place for it. And I look forward to it. You know, hopefully just telling a good story and not just going too far with any kind of like agenda. Just tell us good stories. So Eric July had a great video about that with Batwoman and everything. And so, and we were talking about the Batgirl 50 episode or issue and how like kind of the assassination of Barbara Gordon at the end of that episode of that issue. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, moving on to the next one, Ted Lasso got a 3rd season pickup already.
The way you talk about this, I am going to have to get Apple TV or not Apple TV, but
it's the Apple TV Plus is what it's called. And like, I'm sorry, but Ted Lasso is 100% my favorite show of 2020.
Yeah, and hey, that's good for you, man. Because you've just been singing its praise, and I do like Jason Sudeikis in general.
It's fun, it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's a little weird, and it's that fish out of water story that I'm so fond of, But no, so yeah, Deadline reported today that it got picked up for a 3rd go around, which is great because season 2 starts production in London in early January. So the show is it's from Jason Sudeikis and Bill Lawrence from Scrubs, who is the guy who created Scrubs. So that kind of tells you like where the comedic sensibilities are coming from. But yeah, it's so funny. But Ted Lasso was actually, I think I explained this, and I'll do it again shortly. Jason Sudeikis played Ted Lasso on these NBC Sports videos a few years ago when NBC Sports got the Premier League.
And it's evolved into this.
And he was a football coach from Kansas who was hired to coach in England despite not having any experience, and he got fired before he got there in the shorts. So he just became an analyst for NBC, and it was like, but he knew nothing about soccer. So, but in this time he's been hired and he's the coach, and he knows nothing about soccer or England, and it's just fantastic. But yeah, it's just I'm huge. Like other than Andy Samberg, Jason Sudeikis is probably my number 2 favorite SNL like alum of all time.
I don't think I have any favorite SNL alum.
I love Andy Samberg. Like I just like anything he does, I'm a fan of.
I mean, maybe the Lonely Island stuff, but
dude,
did you ever watch
Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Brooklyn Nine-Nine is amazing.
I never watched that.
All right, the one that he did just recently with Christine Milioti, on the Hulu movie with the Groundhog Day thing that they did was great. And yeah, I mean, all the Lonely Island stuff, the stuff he's done for HBO with 7 Days in Hell with Kit Harington, the Wimbledon thing.
I did want to see that. I have to watch that one.
And Tour de Pharmacy, making fun of the Tour de France. So he's the only African who's ever won the Tour de France because he's Nigerian. So anyway, but yeah, but Ted Lasso it's a fun show. I like, we don't have to talk a whole lot about this, but like if you decided to watch it, we could totally do like a season recap. So
yeah, I'll have to think about doing that.
But yeah, all right. So moving on, the next topic is we finally got confirmation about Red Hood. And we got a first look at what Kieran Walters' Red Hood costume will look like when DC Titans Twitter channel put out the concept art, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really liking it.
So sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and was this last week we talked about, or
we did. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and lo and behold, but yeah, so they're not. It looks like they're not gonna kill him. He's just gonna morph into, and they said he's gonna be the big bad for the first part of the season.
Which, that's the one
I don't like that.
I'm not a huge fan of.
Like, yeah, we talked about it. Like it should have been a slow burn for him to turn to Red Hood, and he should have been going out. Like, I would have loved to have seen him going out as Red Hood, like behind their back, and like consolidating like power in San Francisco or wherever the Titans end up being. But they have casting underway for Barbara Gordon and Tim Drake. And Donna Troy is being brought back to life. So that's interesting. Which, I mean, that goes along with like Troya in the comic, in the Teen Titans comics. But then there's also talk of a Wonder Girl spinoff with Gal Gadot being Wonder Woman. That's a rumor, though. That's 100% rumor.
Yeah.
And then there's they said they might reimagine Tim Drake as Asian. That doesn't matter. I mean, cool. I think as long as whoever plays Tim Drake can be really smart, you know, and come across as like super intelligent, that's what's important with that character, because he got his, you know, he made his bones to become Robin by figuring out everybody's secret identity.
Oh yeah. So see, and this is one of those examples for me that, you know, I've never been huge into the DC or the Bat, particularly the Bat family. So like that type of casting, I mean, I would get why some people would be irritated if they, again, that we don't even know what route they're going.
I don't think you shouldn't be irritated by that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to just discount people being irritated by that, because it's something that has gone on for a while now. Now, that doesn't mean like you can do these changes with stuff, and like you said, like as long as they're staying true to the character, it can work just fine.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of steer back to the whole, you know, Red Hood thing. You know, Kieran Walters, I know we've talked about this on air and off air. He's pretty much been my favorite part of Titans, even when Titans has been, especially like last year where season 2 was really rough, but had some really good moments to it.
It had some it definitely had some high points.
Yeah. So I really like him just, you know, as Robin, but I think I'm interested to see him as the Red Hood. My one concern is them doing this way too early for me.
Yeah,
and we're not getting way enough of a build up to it.
Absolutely. So an interesting thing is Ryan Potter, who plays Beast Boy. Actually, I don't know if you remember this a few years ago, did kind of a little audition tape to be Tim Drake in a movie.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he went through and like was doing like all this like parkour and martial arts and stuff. Like, so like when he was Gar and he was fighting those guys, you know, in season 2 and busted out all those sick, you know, kicks and shit. Like he's a legit like martial artist and everything. And it would have been really cool. Like, I mean, it's just really funny that they're going to make Tim Drake in now when they've got the guy who really wanted to play Tim Drake already on the show.
Yeah.
Who would be a perfect,
Boy, like you call him?
Tiger Boy. But like, I mean, he's Asian American. Like, what does it matter? You know, I think he would be perfect because he was the voice of Hiro Hamada in Big Hero 6. And, you know, he had to talk all that techno babble that Hiro talks on that movie. And, you know,
yeah, that was it. Okay.
So,
I love that movie, by the way.
Dude, Big Hero 6 is amazing. But, like, I don't know. I like Ryan Potter. I'm a fan. I like him as Tiger Boy.
Yeah, I really like him.
I want to see him be, hey, HBO Max, a little bit of budget, just a gorilla. Maybe an elephant, but, like, a gorilla, not just a tiger.
Keep him as a Tiger Boy.
Yep, Tiger Boy is, like, the tiger has served its purpose. But yeah, so I don't know. I we talked about. I mean, we kind of talked about this, so I don't think we have to go too deep into it. But yeah, like just having him turn in. It says here, Titans season 3 will explore Jason Todd's transformation into Red Hood. He won't have to die, as far as we know, but he's being set up as the first half of the season's big bad, according to reports. Where it's like, no, they left that Cadmus thread hanging at the end of season 2. Yeah. Let's clip that. Let Jason, like, because one, Kieran as Jason Todd is one of the best things about the show.
100%.
And the best thing that has ever happened to Jason Todd, other than Judd Winnick bringing him back as Red Hood.
Yeah.
So, or maybe the best thing that's happened to Jason Todd since the Joker killed him, and I called the 900 number to make sure he died. Just saying. Just saying.
Your point about the whole Katniss, that hanging thread, get that out of the way in the first few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on that.
Yeah.
And then have him in the background doing things, and the second half of the season, that would be the time to have him. Ideally, and I think we said this a couple weeks ago, ideally we would have him doing his vigilante thing, but without the red hood.
Yeah.
And then at that season finale, that's when you see him don the red hood.
Yeah. So just like throw on the hoodie, put it on. All of a sudden he's got Jensen Ackles' voice.
Well, that's Soldier Boy. What are you talking
Dude,
about?
that just the Batman Under the Red Hood cartoon movie, animated film.
Yeah, that was good. That was so good.
The only bad casting with that was NPH as Nightwing.
I'm just thinking of the hood part.
So, but Jensen Ackles as Red Hood was just awesome voice casting. And that was the last one that Bruce Greenwood did. So anyway, all right. So moving on. You brought this one to my attention earlier today.
Yeah.
So
I think I mentioned something like this. I don't remember if I mentioned it on here, but probably at the end of last year or maybe the beginning of this year, I was on the Reddit for The Expanse, and someone mentioned how they had bought The Expanse on Amazon, but they weren't an Amazon Prime holder. And they went to watch it, and they no longer had access to it. And Amazon said, I guess Amazon transferred it over to Amazon Prime membership.
Mm.
Now, granted, they did, refund this person their money, but how? So this is the first time I had heard of something like this of studio, or not a studio, but of a streaming service removing someone's access to something that they purchased. So seeing this today really kind of put me in mind of that. And I've told you this before, again, over the last couple months, and again, it might be something that I'm worrying over nothing, but I kind of get a little bit iffy about certain buying movies on Amazon knowing this now.
Yeah. So I don't buy movies on Amazon. I buy them from iTunes. So I may have to deal with this from iTunes at some point, right? But here's the thing: is the music industry tried to do this 40 years ago, with cassettes, right? They wanted to go after people who were sharing cassette tapes and burning CDs and making mixtapes and things like that. So they were saying that you bought a license to that physical version of that, and you didn't have any rights to do anything else with it.
Yeah.
So, and then when digital streaming came along, people were like, well, I already own this. Can I just have the digital copy? And they're like, no, you own the rights to that version of it. This is a new version. So, this isn't a new argument. And I think that, I think Amazon is going to about this the wrong way, but I also think when you hear people like Joe Rogan was talking about the other day about how there are people in the government who want to get rid of private ownership of cars, and everything should be autonomous, autonomous cars where you just use the car as you need it, and it comes and picks you up and takes you to where you want to go and then drops you off, and then starts over with the next person. So this is a similar thing, right? With these streaming services coming on the way they have, I think the whole idea is with Amazon Prime Video, you can download things. You don't own them though, right? If something's Prime, you can download it to your device so you can watch it offline. I think what this is kind of the precursor for is, everything is just going to be streaming moving forward. And if you want to see something that you don't have access to, or from another streaming service, you're going to have to pay an extra fee, or the Mulan thing.
Yeah.
And so this is exactly what Disney did with Mulan. You paid a licensing fee to watch and download that movie earlier before anybody else, right? As long as you have your Disney Plus membership.
And that's where, and again, I know we both said that. That's where I was out. Where it's
100%.
So I have to keep Disney Plus to maintain, quote unquote, my license to watch this movie that I paid $30 for.
Correct.
That, and it's funny enough, Mulan is now on Amazon Prime and
iTunes
and
to buy for $29.99, saving yourself $7.99 if you were a monthly Apple subscriber or Disney subscriber. So this all came about because a woman named Amanda Caudell, I think, in April.
What is up with all these crazy last names?
I don't know. So she sued Amazon in April for unfair competition and false advertising. So in the article here on from the Hollywood Reporter, it says she claims the company secretly reversed the rights to end consumers' access to content purchased through its Prime Video service. She filed her punitive class action on behalf of herself and any California residents who purchased video content from the service from April 25th, 2016 to present. On Monday, Amazon filed a motion to dismiss her complaint by arguing she lacks standing to sue because she hasn't been injured. Punitive was the key word there. And noting that she's purchased 13 titles on Prime since filing her complaint.
Okay, that part I kind of laughed at.
So, okay. So, and then it says here, the plaintiff claims that defendant Amazon Prime Video service, which allows consumers to purchase video content for streaming or download, misleads consumers because sometimes that video content might later become unavailable if a third-party rights holder revokes or modifies Amazon's license. Now, I have an example of this. For a while, The Legend of Korra was taken off of iTunes, right?
Okay.
So, like, you couldn't go buy it anymore. But at no point did I ever lose the ability to go back into like my iTunes like cloud library and watch or download it. So I didn't lose access to the license to that digital content, but nobody new could go buy it.
And I get that. But the fact that you purchased it beforehand, and then and say in this case where say with Amazon or iTunes, say they lose the license and they revoke your purchase. So you're basically saying that I paid this amount of money for this with the idea that I could watch it at any time, and now without any recompense or anything, you're taking that right away. This is not like it's something where I know I'm only renting something. I'm only renting this movie for 2 days. So I have 30 days to watch it. That is totally different. So again, this might be kind of going overboard, but we know how companies can be. Mm-hmm. So this idea of purchasing something and then a year or two down the road, or who knows, maybe 6 months down the road, getting that notice saying you no longer have access to this content.
Well, I don't think they gave her notice. That's what the problem was. All right. So I have another example where this kind of bit me. Is there used to be a digital comic reading app called Iverse, Iverse. And it was when the App Store first launched. This was pre-Comixology, and I bought the prelude to Star Trek, so the 4-issue like prequel series that they did for the 2009 Star Trek movie, where it was Spock getting like the old Spock dealing with the next gen. Yeah, well, he dealt with the next generation crew, and it explained the Rambaldi ball that was in the movie from Alias, and so anyway, so I bought it and I read it on my original iPhone, so the 3.5-inch screen and everything.
Oh, geez.
So then they were purchased by another company, but I lost access to that comic. Now, is it the fault of the company that like bought Iverse when they went under? No, like they weren't responsible for me keeping that, purchase, because it wasn't part of their thing anymore. Now, things have changed. Like, you couldn't download them. Like, Comixology for, I think most publishers now, you have an archive where you can go, like I can go into Comixology and like, unfortunately, I think it's only one at a time. I don't know if they've instituted like a batch download yet, but I can go in and I can download every single comic of the, whatever, 1,200 comics I've bought over the span of Comixology. Like I have access to go and download those for prosperity and to keep them on a drive if I so choose.
Mm-hmm.
But
to your point of now that you can download from Amazon,
yeah,
like that would just make sense to be able to do that. Now, granted, a lot of my movies on Amazon, I'd say most of the ones I watch on right now, I should say, are ones I had digital codes where I had the actual physical copies.
Sure.
But lately, and when I say lately, over the past probably 2-3 years, most of my purchases are digital.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I only buy movies digitally now.
Yeah.
I stopped, like, in the same thing with video games. I only buy them digitally. I stopped buying. The last physical media game I bought was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wilds, because I wasn't thinking clearly. And I should have just bought I should just bought it digitally for my Switch Lite.
Yeah, I'd say unless I get sales, most of my purchases are digital. The Avengers was one of those that I actually just bought the.
Sure.
So, but overall, yeah, and it's just so much more convenient. Just like we were talking about Nook, digital reading, and my Nook, I have 180 books on there. Now, granted, the last 2 books I bought from my Dresden File series, I did actually buy the hard copy.
Sure.
But that's because I had, there's only one book in that series that I actually don't have a hard copy.
Yeah. And
that was because I didn't get a Nook. I didn't have the Nook when I started reading the series.
Yeah.
So, and there was only one book that has come out since I had the Nook. So.
Okay. So, I think like Audible's a really good deal. Like they tell you flat out, like, you own this book. Like this digital version of this book is yours in perpetuity for as long as digital books are allowed to be played somewhere. And you can download those books to other formats to play on your device that plays digital audio.
Yeah, like all my books, I probably have 30 books now from Audible.
Yeah.
All of them are downloaded onto my phone.
all 30 of them?
Yeah. Well, thank goodness for big phones. Well,
right?
I got this, I got the S10 now, so I can do that. With my S5 I had last year, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, so I mean, I try and keep it to 1 or 2 books downloaded at a time, but yeah, I have 58 in my library right now. I was just curious. And it's all the Expanse books, it's all of Dune, and then a bunch of Star Wars. Oh, I have Jeff Tweedy's biography. I have Eddie Izzard's biography. I have Fahrenheit 451. So I have Artemis, Frankenstein, Good Omens.
I have 42.
42. Yeah, nice. And I have the Lock and Key radio play that is on Audible, which if you have not checked out, it's a great read. Check it out. Or a great listen. Check it out. So this is going to get thrown out because she used the term punitive. There's no punitive damage here, right? I think I think if she would have used if she would have used a different term, I think if she would have just left the term punitive out and just called it misleading and unfair,
right?
But yeah, if I were a judge in this, I would probably throw this out.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of what their terms of service, and again, it's one of those things that I didn't even look at. I'm curious to see what Vudu has in their terms of service, because again, you can purchase movies on Vudu as well. So do they have that same type of language in there where it says, hey, if we lose this right or X, Y, and Z, we can
lose
access.
When Flixster went under, you were able to transfer your Flixster stuff to Vudu, right?
Right.
And then with the My Movies Anywhere, now you can see your Vudu, iTunes, and Amazon purchases across any of those 3 platforms.
Yeah.
So,
now, it's funny. I will say that there are certain titles I have that are on Vudu that I cannot see on Amazon, and I don't know. I don't know what the difference was in how I downloaded the digital copy, so I can't kind of like find that that one thing that matches up of why I can't see it. But there are a couple movies I noticed that I can't see on Amazon.
So like I had a digital version of The Crow, right? When I bought the Blu-ray, it had the digital version, but it was just an SD version of the movie. So when they put it in HD, and I think it might actually be in 4K now. It may have been upgraded, but it's definitely in HD. I didn't have access to the HD. I had to buy the HD, or I would have had to buy the HD if I wanted it. And then a couple weeks ago, it was $4.99, so I just bought it. So it's like, because I hate standard def. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna take Amazon's side on this, but I understand.
Right.
Like I have a huge library of this stuff. I don't want to like lose access to any of it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But the minute Apple goes out of business, I lose that whole library.
That's true.
So I mean, the same. It's the same with Comixology. It's the same with Audible. It's just, it's just the way it is. So.
Yeah, it's just one of those kind of things that we don't think about because we're so, especially with the digital age. Well, we're well into the digital age.
See, I think we're still in the infancy of the digital age. Like. Yeah. We haven't even scratched the surface of what we're going to be able to do.
But I mean, just think about how much and again, I don't know the DVD sales versus digital sales and stuff. And again, it's just me and you.
Yeah.
We're talking about what we do, but a lot of people do. Then that's why you have to count in digital sales with a lot of stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Not just movies, but also video games. So, I follow video games a little bit more closely than movies, but, that's a huge part of, sales is the digital sales of a video game, digital download of a video game. So,
yeah,
I think we're just so used to it, or getting used to it, I guess you would say, that it's not something you think about. You're just like, oh, this is just going to be here. So it's.
No, you're right.
I don't know what it holds for the future, but just something to look out for and something to kind of think about. Not necessarily saying change the habit, but be a little bit more cognizant of, like I said, after this, I am going to check out Vudu just to check out their terms of service and see what it says.
Yeah. So the first half of 2020, digital movie sales were 1.61 billion, which soared past DVD and Blu-ray sales, which was 1.275 million. For the first time. That's the first time digital has surpassed Blu-ray. Now, this is the first half of 2020. What happened in the first half of 2020?
What was that? Something did happen.
Something happened. It was like 47,000 years ago. But it says here the difference is even more pronounced if you include digital rentals and physical rentals. So it's 2.98 billion for digital versus 1.85 billion for discs.
Whoa.
So something to keep in mind there. So my uncle worked in tech before working in tech was cool, right? And I succinctly remember him telling me that CD technology was going to outlive the stereo and computer technology. And he didn't even see digital coming.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't. He saw digital coming, but he didn't. Like, nobody saw broadband coming the way it came.
Right.
So, like, no, like that's the difference. That's the main difference. Is everybody like I have a direct fiber optic line into my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to deal with any kind of lag or latency or worrying about how much my neighbor is using. I don't have to worry about a phone line. I don't have to worry about the speed and stability of a modem. All I have to worry about is the fact that I have a direct fiber line that runs into my house, and that is connected to a Cat6 line, which runs directly into my router. And I know this is really nerdy talk right now, but I pay for a certain amount and I overclock by a good amount. So, anyway, yeah.
I'm a little jealous now.
Interesting, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the welcome to the Blumhouse final two, Black Box and Nocturne. So I have Black Box first in the show notes, so I figure we can just start with that one. So the summary for this one is Black Box is about a man struggling to regain his memory after surviving a tragic car accident. Desperate to return to his former self while trying to raise his daughter, he receives an experimental treatment that helps him probe into a past which suddenly feels too dark to be his own. This was 100% a 100-minute episode of Black Mirror.
100%. 100%. It was not even 10 minutes in. That was the first thing I thought that came in. I think when I was taking notes on my phone Samsung Notes app, that was like the first thing I put on here.
Yeah.
It's like where is it at? Yeah, Black Mirror. That was the first thing I put on there.
So I will say, is it Mamadou Authy? Is that how you say it?
I think so.
Okay, so the guy that played Nolan Wright, I want to see way more stuff with him. He was awesome. He was my favorite part of the movie. I thought he did a really good job, and we're not going to spoil. Just like last week, we're not going to spoil. He did a really good job showing what was going on, and the what was happening with Nolan as he was trying to figure things out. Felicia Rashad as the villain. I mean, come on, Claire Huxtable broke bad.
Yeah. I really liked Mamadou. That's where I'm.
It's Mamoudou.
Yeah, sorry if I'd never heard his name spoken, so
yeah.
I can't really. But I did see the first time I remember seeing him in something, and I might have seen him in other things in the past, but I watched Underwater.
Okay, with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, a couple months ago, and I actually liked that movie, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I thought it wasn't great. It kind of had a Deep Star 6 type feel to it. But
so I remembered him from that horrific movie, The Circle.
I tried watching that, and I cut it off within like 30 minutes of watching it, and I never went back to it.
I watched the whole damn thing. And then The Detour, that show. I remember him from that. And
okay.
And then he's going to be in the new Jurassic World movie. So,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So to your point about him, I really enjoyed him in this and showing the uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, of what he was going through, and then later on showing other sides of this development of trying to regain his memory and some of the memories that he does see. I thought he did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. But yeah, he's wait, hold on. Sorry. I just saw something that okay, never mind. No, he was great, and the relationship he had with Amanda Christie, who played Ava, his daughter, I thought was really, really good, and it was a great like grounding point for his character, who was going through something really extraordinary, not extraordinary, but extraordinary in his recovery from this. And then Towson, and I'm not even gonna pronounce it, his buddy Gary, who was a doctor, was the other like really bright spot.
Yeah, and I've seen him in other stuff too.
So,
but going back to Amanda Christine as Ava, I've never seen her in anything, and we all know child actors, they can be very hit and miss.
Right.
It's just because it's just just like actors, but child actors more because of their lack of experience and everything. But she did a phenomenal job, and I just love watching their relationship, her relationship with Nolan, her dad.
Yep.
I thought that was obviously the backbone for me of this movie. And And I mean, granted, Nolan was in the center, but what they brought together, it wouldn't have been as powerful if he did not have this little girl,
right
by his side.
And like she was so funny, and like she just loved her dad, and she wanted her dad to remember things. And I really liked the notes she left for him, and the whole "you don't smoke,"
yeah,
which like was some cool foreshadowing. But yeah, no, I thought so. We talk about like representation and diversity in these movies, right? So much like Evil Eye, this is pretty much an all black cast. Like Evil Eye was pretty much all Indian. At no point are you watching this and you're like, wow, they're really beating me over the head with an all black cast. Absolutely not. It was a good story. It was a really good cast. I thought, again, the story came first. It was good storytelling, and it didn't matter.
No, and that again, like we said with Evil Eye, that's what I'm looking for. And this, to be honest, this is another one of those that, yes, if this showed up as an episode of Black Mirror, I would absolutely watch it. However, as a standalone movie, I probably wouldn't have given this the time, just for the simple fact of, again, movies on Amazon can be hit and miss. So I was like, do I want to really take the chance for this movie to waste my time? But I'm glad I did watch this. Just as much as Evil Eye, which I thoroughly enjoyed as well, this was a good time being able to watch this.
I was really surprised by this one.
Yeah,
I didn't. So here's the thing: I did not read any of the treatments. I did not watch any of the trailers, and I did not read any, and I still have not read any reviews on any of this stuff.
I haven't either.
So I went into all 4 of them blank. Like I copied stuff from like for the show notes and everything into the show notes, but like the reception and stuff, I did not read any of that.
Okay.
So
yeah.
All right. So yeah, like I said, it was 100 minutes long. So this is the longest one of the 3 we've talked about so far. It said the budget was greater than 10 million. So I imagine Felicia Rashad's like quote or rate was probably like 5 or 6 million of that. So but no. Okay, so filming in February 2020, it was announced, the cast was announced, and with Jason Blum producing under the Blumhouse television banner, with Amazon distributing. The film is this is actually the first film in the 8-part deal with Blumhouse and Amazon, and principal photography took place in New Orleans, Louisiana. So just like everything else,
it's funny. Like
shocker. Yeah. Who would have thought like they'd be shooting all this stuff in Louisiana with all those awesome tax breaks that they give the movies and TV shows? Yeah. Shocker. And it was honestly, this has been a great like boom for New Orleans to recover from Hurricane Katrina, because
that's good. That's
like,
really good to hear.
Like this has been like great for them to get movies being shot there and money being spent there and all of that fun stuff. Okay. Yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes holds the approval rating at 75 based on 51 reviews. The site's critics' consensus is an intriguing debut for writer-director Emmanuel Osai Kufor. Black Box compensates for lack of surprises with a strong performance and an emotionally rewarding story. Metacritic, the film has a weighted average of 62 out of 100 based on 11 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. I think I'm surprised by they say lack of surprises.
Yeah, because this is one of those where, at least for me, I knew a surprise was coming, and I thought I figured out the surprise, but it was a little different than I thought. So I was surprised.
I thought they did a good job not calling their shot.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't until after that shot was shot that the things that happened in the movie made like all the more sense.
Yeah, I like that shot was shot.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I mean, let's see. 2 out of out of 5 amnesia points. What do you give this one?
5 amnesia.
Actually, no. We just give these numbers. So I would say I'd give this a solid 7.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
7 out of 10. Like easy. All right. So the next one was Nocturne, and so the summary for Nocturne is: inside the halls of an elite arts academy, a timid music student begins to outshine her more accomplished and outgoing twin sister when she discovers a mysterious notebook belonging to a recently deceased classmate who was not Ginny Weasley. All I could think watching this was the second Harry Potter movie, but in a music academy instead of a magic academy.
So, you know what I thought? It's funny you said that. I was thinking Black Swan.
Oh yeah, like definitely, like Black Swan is definitely something that it could have been.
I would say Suspiria, but I've never seen that because I know that was movie based on a dance academy.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never seen that. So, but like that's what I was thinking. It's just like I'm seeing Black Swan, Natalie Portman and stuff, and that.
So, so this one starred Sydney Sweeney, who is from the show. I think it's called Euphoria. I'm getting this wrong. On HBO, the one with Zendaya. Euphoria.
Yes, Euphoria.
Where she is great in that show. She was also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is really good. She's beautiful. Her Instagram count is 100% awesome. You should definitely check it out. But she was really, really good because this was a really different role than her character on Euphoria. Oh, and she was in Everything Sucks, which is the grossly underrated, grossly only getting 1 season Netflix series about the 90s. And so I thought she was good. Her sister Madison Eisman, so she was Juliet. Madison Eisman is her sister Vivian, who was very good as well. And I think they looked enough alike to that you could buy the twins thing, but fraternal twins, definitely not identical.
Right.
But their relationship was really, really interesting. And Madison is, you'd know her as Brittany from Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
So as the teenage girl. And I think she was in one of the Annabelle movies. She was in Annabelle Comes.
But yeah, I really this was one of those I was gonna watch last night after Black Box, and I decided to kind of space them apart.
Yeah,
I'm glad I did because I give both films their due. Like I said, this one really reminded me. There was that underlying spook factor in this movie, in Nocturne, where there are parts you just don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you think but then the scene cuts and you have to ask yourself, like, did this really happen or did this happen?
Right.
And as far as the relationships go, granted, their parents weren't in it too much. Brandon Keener and Julie Bentz.
Yeah.
I love Julie Bentz, Darla. But so it was more about them. I thought that, like you said, they had a very interesting relationship where there was that tension that it's that tension where it's kind of not on the surface until something happens that kind of like makes it bubble up. And throughout this movie, you started seeing the tension between Viv and Juliet.
Yeah,
just continually come up and up and up, and it happens when someone, be a sibling or a significant other or just a friend, where one friend is used to the dynamic of, say, being on top, and they just and the other one, and then the one that's not on top just assumes, hey, I'm going to play second fiddle. So, and watching those roles reverse and how people handle that.
Yeah. So here was my issue, right? Is like they did not have any sort of a twin bond.
No, it was,
and it was
it
more
was
like it was. So you have siblings. You have an older sibling. I have a
right.
I have a
Two older
yeah,
siblings.
you have two. I have a younger sibling, and like it was more. It seemed like it was more in line with that, right? Right, like what you would see from two siblings who are a couple years apart,
Distant.
not
Yeah, absolutely.
2 minutes apart.
Right. And
Yeah.
I actually, that's a very good insight. And that was the thing I was thinking about and couldn't really put into words in the sense, because there's a little distance when you have, and again, in my case, my siblings are 7.5 and 8.5 years older than
Yeah.
me. So I never had that partner in crime in the sense. Yeah, me and my brother played backyard baseball with a duct tape baseball.
Sure.
We did, but like that every day, going to the same school,
Mm-hmm.
being in the same grade, never had that. And I understand that, because quote unquote twins in some sort, that might not happen. Granted, like one of my old best friends that I used to work with, she had a twin, and they were like, they acted like twins
Right.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
So,
they're inseparable, and they have their own weird language and telepathy.
yeah. So that part was, there were times, especially in the beginning, where I couldn't kind of latch on to their relationship, but then I kind of stepped back and looked at it as, which again, this is kind of not necessarily a mistake, but kind of like a slip up in the movie. I stopped thinking of them as twins and just started thinking of them more as siblings. Which again, I know one, but they're both the same. But like
Right.
twins, when I look at twins, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
So I took away that vantage point, looking at it from that vantage point, and then I think I saw and that's when everything started happening, where I was just talking about how those roles of being one and two were slowly being reversed, and that hidden tension that's always been there between them,
Right.
though they never necessarily admitted to it,
Mm-hmm.
really showed up.
Yeah. I thought this was a relatively weak cast. To be honest, like I liked Sydney Sweeney. I like Sydney and I like Madison in their roles. Jacques Coleman as Max,
Coleman?
I did not really care for. Ivan
Not at
Shaw as the sought after music tutor, I did not really care for. I did like that it had oh shoot, I just forgot his name. The one guy from Parks and Rec. Typhoon from Parks and Rec as the like principal, or as like one of the heads of the school. I thought that was great.
Mhm.
I always like seeing Parks and Rec alums show up on things. And I see, I don't look at Julie Benz as Darla. I look at Julie Benz as Dexter's girlfriend from
that's
Dexter.
true.
And so that's
She was also the mayor, I think, of Defiance.
Oh, really? I never watched
or something
Defiance.
like that. She had a big role in Defiance.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what it was. But
yeah, when she was Rita on Dexter, it was just not. It ruined everything that Darla was. It makes it hard to watch Angel, with the Darla episodes, and the absentee parents like that. Their kids are in high school, and you're leaving, and of course they're at a essentially a boarding school.
right.
And they're traveling around the world and doing it for the gram. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I will second that the second, or the supporting cast, was not the strong suit of this movie,
No.
and it could have made, if you had a stronger secondary cast, this movie would have been so much better, particularly with Dr. Henry Cask's role as that sought after teacher.
Yeah.
He just lacked, first of all, he did have a sort of I'm hiding something type look on his face, but he just didn't have the oomph I was looking for as a sought after musical teacher, teaching the best students in this academy. He just lacked it. And I don't want to go necessarily say he should have been like our boy in Whiplash, which that was another movie I thought about when I was watching this, just because of the musical aspect, the competition aspect.
Right.
You don't necessarily need him to be like J.K. Simmons in that.
Right.
But he needed a harder edge, and he just didn't have it.
Correct. And then I thought Max was just not like that kid that played him. I just don't think he did a very good job. And I was wondering the whole time, why is this kid even at this like fancy school? He seems like he's a huge F up.
Yeah, I was not impressed with him. To quote GSP, I'm not impressed with your performance or by your performance.
Not impressive. Most not impressive.
But the two stars, the
girls,
Madison and Sydney, they did a solid job.
Yeah, I thought they had a really good like adversarial chemistry. Which is what was needed in there. Wow. They call, so on the Wikipedia it says here in 2019 she began starring in HBO's teen drama series Euphoria. Have you watched Euphoria?
Yes.
Okay, because it's awesome. It's a great show, but it's definitely not
Euphoria
like
is great.
It is not a teen drama series.
Yeah.
She's only 5'3". Wow. So. She's little. I thought this was okay. I will say it was 90 minutes as well, so it was relatively short. I think they probably could have cut a half hour out of this, and it would have been another episode of Black Mirror. Yeah, I mean they literally could have cut anything with the parents out, anything where they weren't at school. The whole thing.
Because it didn't add anything.
The weird party in the cave could have been cut out.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So filming in September 2019, it was announced, casting was announced, with Zhu Quirky writing and directing in her directorial debut. I will say this movie looked very good.
Yes.
Of the two this week, I think this one looked better than Black Box. Black Box definitely looked kind of like a TV show. So there was that. Principal photography also began in September 2019. So I mean, they put these movies together quick, man. Like we need to get Jason Blumhouse on. Like, I know we're small but mighty, but like we need to talk. I want to talk to that guy. Anyway.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff he does with his production company and the movies that they crank out.
Yeah, he's super impressive. He's super impressive. Yeah. And like the quality is there. All right, so the reception, Rotten Tomatoes, again, it's a review aggregator, so take with it what you will. It currently holds a 59% based on 34 reviews. The critics' consensus reads: Nocturne's thought-provoking themes find themselves at odds with its genre ingredients, resulting in a mild blend that isn't quite pulpy enough. Metacritic gives it a 54 out of 100 based on 9 critics, mixed or average reviews. I will say, I didn't want this to be pulpy, and I thought there was too much lag in the middle of the movie.
Yes. I will second that as well.
Which is why I give it a 5.
Yeah, I will have this one as probably like a 5.5.
Okay.
And only because some of the trippier elements really, I liked it how it made me question what was going on, what was real, what was not.
Well, right, which is why I liked that part of it, right? Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna pop mine up. I'm gonna bump mine up a half a point to 5.5. But yeah, it just like it was not as good as Black Box.
No.
So, okay. So, give me your 4.
So, starting with number 4, and this was not even difficult for me. Number 4 is The Lie. Like the more I think about that movie, the more it irritates me. Now I will say, like I was kind of back and forth at first, but the more we talked about it, and although I did have this before we started, so it did, but It just solidified it talking about it.
Yeah.
Nocturne, I have that at number 3. Black Box at number 2, and then Evil Eye is the first movie.
Damn it, we have the exact same list.
I mean, still thinking about Evil Eye. That's one of those. I don't know if I'd watch Black Box again. I might if somebody hadn't seen it.
Yeah. If someone wanted to like come over and watch it and be like, yeah, I'll watch it. I watched Evil Eye again this week.
Yeah, I will absolutely. So you already have?
Yeah, because we were supposed to watch these two, and I went and watched Evil Eye instead of watching these two.
Yeah, I will absolutely watch Evil Eye again.
I watched
just hanging out by myself.
I watched Black Box last night, and I watched Nocturne while I was working today. So
yeah.
But I did get to pay attention. Like I had it on my tablet kind of like right in front of me and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I actually had a day without meetings. So it was nice. Because I was almost ready to call you and be like, can we record tomorrow? I haven't watched Nocturne yet.
That's fine.
I will say, as far as this goes, these are 4 strong, like, welcome to Blumhouse. Like, I'm excited for the next 4.
Which, I don't know if you I never sent this to you, but they just released the names of the final 4 films.
Okay.
For next year, that come out next year. They are The Manor, Black as Night, Madres, and Bingo.
Okay.
So I didn't know if they have they have some of the the kind of like the blurbs about what they're what's going on with these movies.
Yeah.
No trailers yet, but this actually just came out today.
Yeah,
so.
I just pulled up Deadline. It was 7 hours ago from when we're recording this. So yeah, interesting.
Does it say when? Like, I'm looking at the article. Did it say? It just says coming 2021.
Yeah, so. It says here, coming off the successful launch of the first 4 films of the program, which has surpassed our expectations. We're excited to reveal the next chapter coming in 2021, says Jennifer Stalk, head of Amazon Studios. The spine-tingling, edge-of-your-seat thrills continues in this next collection of titles that will surely entertain, surprise, and shock our global customers. The Lie is by far the weakest. I also think The Lie is one that was purchased because it was from 2018.
Yes.
The other 3 were all shot and filmed within the last 8 months, whatever.
8 months,
yeah. No, last year, like the last year. So there's definitely that different tone. There's that different style of storytelling that are in Evil Eye, Black Box, and Nocturne. And I really want to spoil the end of Nocturne, but I'm not going to, because I'll tell you something. Like I'll talk to you about it when we're off air. But
okay.
But yeah. So I'm excited for this. Let's see. Oh, they have the casting for The Manor, Black as Night, Madres, and Bingo.
I just kind of scanned it and I didn't notice it. Like I didn't recognize any names.
Yeah. Let's see. Madres is about a Mexican-American couple expecting their first child. Let's see. Bingo. It's in the barrio of Oak Springs. So it seems like it's another Latinx, whatever, movie. Let's see. Oh, Keith David is in Black as Night. Interesting. I like that guy.
Oh, I didn't see it.
So, let's see. A teenage girl with self-esteem issues finds confidence in the most unlikely way by spending her summer battling vampires that prey on New Orleans disenfranchised with the help of her best friend. Cool. That one sounds like it might be fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then The Manor is Barbara Hershey, Bruce Davidson, Nicholas Alexander. Yeah, okay. I'll link to this I'll put this in the show notes at the end. After suffering a stroke, Jules Albright moves into a historic nursing home where she begins to suspect something supernatural is preying on the residents. And there's more to it, obviously, but I don't want to read the full descriptions right now. Interesting. I'm sure I'll forget all about this until I see the promotion next year for welcome
Right.
to Blumhouse too. So hopefully they do. Like, I don't want to say hopefully they do it in October because I think that's a long time to wait. But also, I kind of hope they do it in. It says yeah. So I kind of hope they do it in October again.
Let's be honest. Like reading those summaries. It honestly, though, and again, I don't know where they are in the filming of these, and they might not have been ready. Who knows? But some of those seemed more in line with what I was expecting, particularly with more particularly with The Lie, I would say, because The Lie just kind of really threw me off.
Yeah, the lie wasn't good. I mean,
I kind of wish they had like released again. It would have been. That might have been a little bit much, releasing 2 of these every week, like throughout October, because Black as Night definitely is that's the one I'm looking forward to. Again,
yeah.
I'm a sucker for vampires, so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, I think October might be a little too long.
Yeah,
but who knows? I mean, again, like you said, we'll forget about it until we see the
promotion.
Hey, Blumhouse Part 2 is coming.
Yeah. Right. So, welcome back to Blumhouse. All right. Yeah, the return. All right. That's all I got this week.
Yeah, and tomorrow's going to be, well, yeah, as you know, we film on Thursdays, we record on Thursdays. Tomorrow I am looking forward to tomorrow because
you're going to get your Baby Yoda fix.
Yes. Mandalorian season 2 starts on the 30th.
Did you order that spray ground backpack? Did I send that to you? Oh. I bought Angel. I bought Angel the SpongeBob Doodle Bob like half and half one as part of her Mother's Day present, just like to surprise her. And she's like, "What am I gonna do with this?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just cool." Because Haley got a spray ground backpack we got her that for school this year. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm like, there's a part of me that's kind of hoping like it's gonna be up at midnight.
I think we've got spoiled with The Boys.
Dude, The Boys spoiled us by being 9 o'clock the Thursday the night before.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, it wasn't even midnight. It was like after we would get off this show, I would get a text from you. What, about an hour later?
Not even like
up.
It's up. It's up. So I don't know. So last year, okay. So my sleeping schedule last year was a little wonky. Last year the Mandalorian would come on at 2 a.m.
And you would watch it.
I absolutely would watch it. Well, because I was like, I had calls with my team in Turkey, sometimes, and I was just up. So it's what happens when you work with a global team, right? Who's 8 hours ahead of you, or 9 hours, depending on daylight savings. So sometimes I had to wake up in the middle of their day to get what I needed. So I would just watch The Mandalorian and then go back to bed, wake up, watch it again. So
of course you did. You got to watch it again.
Of course. But yeah. I can't believe Disney Plus has been around for a year.
Wow. I think it's been like 42,000 years, but okay.
Other than Netflix, it is the one I use the least. Yeah, definitely, because I haven't watched anything on there in a couple weeks. I rewatched The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I didn't even rewatch that.
So I think they watched Hocus Pocus on there last night. I was doing other things. But
I did watch The Mandalorian Honest trailer, which was great.
Dude, The Mandalorian Honest trailer was great. Did you watch The Mandalorian How It Should Have Ended? From the Hizzy channel?
I don't know if I did or not.
They did How It Should Have Ended for every episode. All right, we're blathering on. Okay, you guys have a great week. We'll be back next week. We are going to have a very spoiler heavy review of the first episode of The Mandalorian, and we will follow that all the way up until through the season. And I think, Daryl, we should probably start doing an Expanse rewatch, and maybe since we've never really talked about the Expanse on the show, other than when you came on last year when we did the whole fourth season. We should probably pick some episodes out and maybe do some deep dives.
Which that was a great segue because I think tomorrow is the official one a day. So
Yeah.
if you want to catch up before season 5, start watching tomorrow or start watching October 30th.
Yeah.
Watch one a day, and then that'll lead directly into season 5 where it premieres December 16th, I believe.
So if you're listening to this on November 1st, you have to watch 3.
2. 3, yes.
So
I forgot October 31st. Yeah.
Yeah. Halloween.
No.
I can't do the one a day.
I did that with season 4 leading up, and there were a couple times I had to do 2.
Yeah. Because Game of Thrones did that too, where it's like, start watching now. And it's like, I just watched 4 episodes in a night. All right. On that note, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Peace out.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @InfamousPodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is. And we'll see you next time. Later.